It's the classic survival scenario, being stranded alone on a deserted island. It sounds kinda cool for like a day or so with a cooler full of brews and a hot fellow castaway to tan with, but long-term survival in an unforgiving tropical climate is no day at the beach. So, grab a volleyball and your best machete because we're gonna show you how it's done. This is Epic How To!
Epic How To.
So you're stranded alone on a desert island. Assuming you're not just a really terrible vacation planner, some catastrophic event landed you here, whether it be a plane crash, a shipwreck, or an emergency parachute landing. In all of these cases, the first step is the same. Gather all the supplies you can. If you survived a shipwreck, hopefully you grabbed some things from the boat, or arrived in a life raft pre-packed with emergency supplies. If you survived a plane crash, you're likely to find food, water, medicine, and other useful supplies within the wreckage. When gathering resources, keep in mind that seemingly impractical items may be used creatively later on. Think ice skate plus tooth equals Tom Hanks. Then move on to step 2. Calm down, get a lay of the land. After you've surveyed the landscape, you'll know how much or how little your environment has to offer and be able to strategize accordingly. Step 3, find fresh water. While people can go weeks or even months without eating, it only takes a few days to die from dehydration. So you better find a water source and fast. Well, luckily, most islands are blessed with plenty of fresh water sources. You'll still want to boil fresh water for 2 to 3 minutes to kill any bacteria. If you don't have a fire and have to drink directly from a source, a small running stream is your safest bet. If you can't find an existing freshwater source, do your best rain dance, and set out plenty of containers to collect rainwater in. No rain? Look for coconut trees. The green unripened ones are filled with milk that's mostly water and also contains beneficial vitamins and nutrients. Avoid drinking from the ripened brown ones. They contain oils that act as a laxative, causing you to lose more water than you take in out the other end. That's a poop thing I'm talking about. Right before sunrise, tie rags around your ankles and shuffle through tall grass or other dense vegetation. The rags will absorb dew on the plants, which can be wrung out into a container. Also try tapping water from a tree by tying some sort of baggie onto a downward-facing hacked-off limb. Step 4, find shelter. You need to establish a secure home base to avoid exposure and retain your body heat on cool nights. Obviously, if you can use parts of your wrecked boat, life raft, or downed plane to provide you with cover, don't waste your energy building something from scratch. And look around the island for natural shelters like caves. If you need to construct a shelter yourself, choose a location elevated enough to avoid mosquitoes, because they suck! Collect sturdy materials like bamboo and thick branches. To build a simple A-frame hut, place a long straight stick between 2 Y-shaped logs driven into the ground. Create walls on either side by leaning sticks against the center beam at a 45-degree angle. Cover your foundation with palm fronds, vines, or other foliage to create a barrier between you and the elements. Then line the floor with soft grasses to sleep on, and voila! You've got island real estate, homie. By now you've probably worked up quite an appetite, so let's move on to step 5, find food. You may be able to catch small animals with simple traps, like setting bait inside a hollowed out log or using a stick to prop up a basket with bait underneath it. Search shallow tide pools for easy pickings like clams and sea snails. You can also harvest fresh seaweed growing underwater. Just don't eat the dead stuff that floats up onto the shore. Gross! Construct a fishing weir at low tide by arranging rocks in a V-shaped barrier near the shoreline. When the tide rises, fish swim inside, getting caught behind the barrier when the tide gets low again. A plastic bottle can also be converted into a fish trap. Cut the bottle in 2 widthwise and put some bait into the bottom half, with a stone or 2 to weigh it down. Take the top half of the bottle, flip it over, and fit it back inside the bottom half. Small fish will go through the bottleneck to get the bait and get caught inside, because fish are stupid. Aside from fish, bugs are another abundant food source. As gross as it sounds, snacking on edible insects like ants and crickets could save your life in a pinch. Yum. When it comes to plants and berries, only consume what you recognize. The last thing you need right now is to poison yourself. If you're desperate, like 23-year-old me, and have to eat a plant you don't recognize, rub it on your skin first and wait to see if you have a reaction. If your skin gets itchy or breaks out in a rash, do not eat the plant. Once you've rustled up some grub, you're gonna probably want to cook it. So it's time for step 6, make a fire. Remember those old brown coconuts you can't drink from? Use their furry, dry husks as tinder. It's extremely flammable and acts as a natural mosquito repellent when burned. If you don't have matches, try starting a fire with a clear glass lens. It's not like a fake thing that you see in the movies. You can actually do that. A bow drill is another way to make a fire without matches. Tie a shoestring or other cord onto either end of a curved stick to make a bow. Loop the middle of the string around another dry stick you'll use as a spindle, and then create a small divot in a piece of dry, flat wood so that your spindle fits tightly into it. Then quickly move the bow back and forth while pushing down hard on the top of the spindle with a rock. The pressure and friction will eventually create a spark you use to light a fire. Science! Once you get a fire going, keep it going. Otherwise, you're gonna have to start all over again, and that would suck. Congratulations, castaway. You've met all your basic survival needs. Now for step 7, maintain your sanity. Survival experts agree that a positive mindset is your most important asset in any survival situation. Establish a daily routine, make plans for what you'll do when you get off the island, and talk out loud to yourself or something else. Being stranded alone without human contact for a long time can drive anyone cuckoo banana pants pretty darn quick. Tom Hanks might have looked pretty darn crazy chatting it up with a volleyball in Castaway, but it's actually what kept him sane. So get out your Sharpie and draw a face on something because you're gonna need a buddy. But don't draw a face on your own face because that'd be like double crazy. Step 8, signal for rescue. Find the largest, whitest space on the beach and spell out SOS with dark colored debris as large as you can. And burn lots of damp foliage to create black smoke. And after you're finally rescued, it's probably a good idea not to bring Mr. Bucket back home with you. You'll be sad, but people might get the wrong idea. Well, that's all for this episode, folks. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment down below telling us what you'd like to learn how to do next. I'm Joe Bereta, and yes, it's still on my face. This has been Epic How To. Hey guys, click here to see other epic feats you can accomplish on your own, and don't forget to subscribe for more great Omni content, because that's what you're supposed to do. Oh yeah, one more thing. Before you go, we'd like to thank Go90 for sponsoring this episode. Click the link below to watch primetime shows, live music, and sports, plus the best of the web. Awesome!